In the rush to capitalize on the demand for more Power Rangers created by Power Rangers, a whole spectrum of similar shows emerged. Some good ones, some bad ones, some by the actual creators of Power Rangers themselves, and also this one. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills. Thank you to CuriosityStream for sponsoring this video. Go to curiositystream.com/galaxymedia to save 25% right now. CuriosityStream is about being curious. It's in the name, and they cover the entire spectrum of things that you might want to know more about. CuriosityStream is a subscription streaming service that offers thousands of nonfiction movies and shows from some of the world's best filmmakers, including exclusive originals. CuriosityStream has millions of subscribers and new shows every week on history, science, tech, military history, and more. It's also extremely affordable at under $20 a year. Check out History of Home with Nick Offerman, an hour-long show examining how our daily lives made our houses into homes, featuring interviews with architects, designers, craftspeople, and historians explaining the story of various rooms in the house, including hallways, kitchens, bedrooms, and bathrooms. CuriosityStream is available on many platforms. It's the world's first streaming service addressing our lifelong quest to learn, to explore, and most importantly, to understand. Click the link below or go to curiositystream.com/galaxymedia and save 25% right now. That's only $14.99 for the whole year. Again, that's curiositystream.com/galaxymedia. And thank you again to CuriosityStream for sponsoring this video. Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills is a live-action television series that aired 40 episodes on the USA cable network from 1994 to 1995. Produced by DIC Entertainment, it's low-end kids entertainment that looks like high-end adult entertainment. Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills is about 4 teenagers with we'll say spirit, that are chosen by an alien named Nimbar to become galactic sentinels, to protect the Earth from the evil Emperor Gorganus, sometimes called Gorganus.
We can add Onius, Inus, or anus to just about anything and it becomes magical.
Gorganus has set his sights on Earth because it is a nexus of the power portals, and if he were able to control the central point of power, he could conquer the entire universe. To that end, his empire just happens to have a stock of giant monsters that he can throw at Earth to soften it up in advance of his domination. Nimbar, a gooey, slimy, bioluminescent jellyfish creature, is the head protector of the power portals, tasked with keeping those portals out of the hands of intergalactic authoritarians like Gorganus. As he has done before on other planets across the galaxy, Nimbar gives each of the 4 high school teens a mark, which we're going to have to accept as the eponymous tattoo. It is a normally imperceptible mark on their arms that works like the bat signal, lighting up whenever Nimbar needs them and allowing them to pass through the power portals. The tattoos and their associated superpowers are loosely themed to constellations. As they stand on the transo discs at Nimbar's base, they are teleported to the battlefield in their giant galactic sentinel forms. Laurie Foster transforms into Scorpio armed with a powerful hook sword that shoots lasers. Swinton Sawyer becomes Apollo with the symbol of Aquarius and a 4-bladed glaive that shoots lasers. Drew Vincent becomes Centaurus with the symbol of Sagittarius and a battle axe that shoots lasers. Gordon Henley becomes Taurus, wielding a staff that shoots lasers. When the fight gets out of hand, when the monsters are too powerful for the team-based attacks, the Galactic Sentinels can combine their powers to call upon an even greater defender. Clasping their hands together in the form of a square and calling out their own names, they summon Nitron, the ultimate warrior against evil, to finish the fight with his mighty sword of power that shoots lasers. Gorganus won't rest until the power portals and the galaxy beyond are in his hands. It's up to Nimbar to steer the young and inexperienced warriors to victory as they carry the hopes of everyone in the galaxy. Protectors known as the Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills. Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills was produced by DIC Entertainment. Its existence is a direct result of the popularity of Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It was created by the television comedy writing duo of Jim Fisher and Jim Stahl, both former members of Second City who had previously worked on shows like SCTV, Mork and Mindy, and Sledgehammer. In 1993, Saban Entertainment, in collaboration with Fox Kids, set the children's entertainment world on fire with the premiere of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It quickly became the hottest kids brand on television and in the toy aisle, raking in billions in merchandise sales. By utilizing pre-existing footage licensed from Japanese television shows and associated pre-existing merchandise, Saban established a template for low-cost, high-profit, quick turnaround, daily syndicated television for kids. That degree of success seemingly overnight inspired other television producers to do the same thing. The following year, in 1994, Saban and Fox expanded their offerings with a second adapted series called VR Troopers, which, like Power Rangers, was created using footage from Japanese film and television producer Toei. That same year, Saban had to face the consequences of his success as children's entertainment juggernaut DIC Enterprises entered the fray. DIC was founded in 1971 by Jean Chalopin and was responsible for a lot of popular programming. Shows like Inspector Gadget, Kid Video, Pole Position, Jason the Wheeled Warriors, Mask, The Real Ghostbusters, Alf Dino Saucer, Star...
I made us a time capsule. I put a buttload of keepsakes in it.
But in 1994, founder Jean Chalopin was no longer running DIC. See, in 1980, Saban and Chalopin made a deal. Saban would provide music for DIC's productions in exchange for the publishing rights to that music. In 1982, DIC set up a US-based office run by Andy Hayward to translate DIC's productions for the US market. In 1986, Hayward engineered a hostile takeover of DIC, leaving Chalopin out in the cold. Chalopin was not happy. To raise some cash after the takeover, Hayward began selling off parts of DIC's library, of which Saban purchased the international rights, and then flipped them to original DIC founder Jean Chalopin. Hayward was not happy. In 1994, DIC, with Hayward in charge, was poised for revenge. Hayward wanted to do exactly what Saban had done, but DIC couldn't partner with Toei, who owned most of the live-action superhero kids shows in Japan, because they were already working with Saban. Instead, DIC partnered with another Japanese film and television production company called Tsuburaya. Tsuburaya was the owners of the Ultraman series, which they licensed to US producers through a US-based company called Ultracom. DIC, Tsuburaya, and Ultracom partnered the same way Toei and Saban did. The result was 1994's Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, a US adaptation of the Tsuburaya series, Gridman the Hyper Agent, which had aired in Japan in 1993. Live-action fight footage for DIC to build the show around, costumes, props, and more. Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad was supported by a healthy assortment of toys and action figures released by Playmates. It spelled redemption for Tsuburaya and Ultracom, whose 1992 series Ultraman Towards the Future fell short of Saban's success with Power Rangers the very next year on the very same Fox programming block. There is almost zero publicly available documentation on the creation of tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills, TTAFFBH for short. A lot of reasonable assumptions, some fact-based extrapolation, some articles by American Tokusatsu or Ameritoku fan Seamus Kelly at Den of Geek. What we know is that DIC had a reputation for lean production budgets. They were willing to do it cheaper than anyone else, and that could frequently be seen in the quality of the finished product. Maybe the audience, kids under 10, didn't care, but those in the industry knew what DIC was.
All this week, USA gets totally weird. First, she's high-tech. She's alive. Hardwired. And a product of weird science. Then, they protect the world from evil alien monsters.
Oh, no biggie.
And still manage to finish their homework.
That piece of cake.
Tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills. It's totally weird when weird science meets tattooed teens back-to-back. All this week starting at 6/5 Central on USA. We got a winner!
We know that DIC had a partnership with Tsuburaya for Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. It is reasonable to assume that they may have been attempting to produce a second show through that partnership as Saban had with Toei. Unfortunately, Tsuburaya had very little to work with when it came to pre-existing shows that DIC could license. Ultraman Toward the Future was a fully original production developed in Australia by South Australian Film Corporation. It would eventually air in Japan as Ultraman G, but that wasn't something that DIC could use, having just aired in the US in 1992. Tsuburaya's next most recent live-action series was a show called Andromelos, which had aired in 1983. Not only was it a stretch to use footage that old, but the footage wasn't that great to begin with, seemingly shot on video instead of film. Andromelos only ran 45 episodes in Japan, which likely would not have yielded enough footage to carry TTFF-BHFH's 40 episodes. This theory is plausible because Andromelos features 4 hero characters who, like Ultraman, are giant superheroes fighting against giant monsters in a sparsely decorated, confined set that is supposed to represent locations all over the galaxy. That said, it is also plausible that there never was any intention to partner with Tsuburaya on TFT-HH-BFTF. In fact, it is likely it was a completely original creation, an attempt to make a truly American version of something like Power Rangers, with original fight footage, original character scenes, and original hero and monster concepts drawn from American influences. In 1993, the biggest things in kids' entertainment were obviously Power Rangers, but also the Batman and X-Men animated series. Spider-Man would begin airing in 1994 as well. Kids' television in the US was superhero saturated, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was coming off nearly a decade of pop culture dominance. It is not difficult to imagine the creators of TTFF, BF, HTF, Jim Fisher and Jim Stahl surveying the landscape of kids' television and toys to pull inspiration from everything that was hot, putting it into a blender with a Saved by the Bell skeleton and a Beverly Hills 90210 homage. This is I forced a bot to watch 1,000 hours of 1993 children's television broadcast in the US, and this is the show it produced. We also know that there were people who worked on DIC's Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad who characterized the very existence of the show as a big you to Saban as revenge for selling DIC's international rights to Shalapan. Whether it was Hayward's hope to siphon some money away from Saban by creating a competitor or to simply create market confusion with the moms of America and not spending nearly as much as Saban to get there. Whatever the motivations were behind its creation, the writers, the directors, and the cast treated it as seriously as they would have any other job they were hired to do. And the cast in particular is one place where TTFH BHFT did stand out. Nimbar was played by Glenn Shaddix, who you may know as Otho from Beetlejuice or the mayor of Halloween Town in Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. Emperor Gorganus' pet bird monster Lechner was voiced by David Lander, who had a deep portfolio of television, movie, and voice acting, most famously as Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley. Gorganus was played by Ed Gilbert, who was also the voice of Blitzwing on Transformers and General Hawk on G.I. Joe, Hacker on Centurions, Nomad on Rambo, Metlar on Inhumanoids, 3030 on Bravestar, and a lot of others. And Zsa Zsa Gabor played herself in one episode running for mayor of Beverly Hills. Everything about TTTF, BHF, BF was driven by doing it cheaper. Cheaper costumes, cheaper sets, fewer locations, fewer episodes, and a glaring lack of giant robots. But it's still surprising that there was no toy line to support the show, given the demographic and the origin of exactly this kind of show explicitly to sell toys. Further lending weight to the idea that TTFH-BFFT is just giant-size X-Men is that the heroes don't call on transforming combinable robots to defeat the monsters. Rather, their superhero forms are just giant spandex-clad versions of themselves with more heroic physiques, the masks disguising the fact that the Sentinel forms are played by different actors. That said, Seamus Kelly at Den of Geek claims that Galoob may have produced some prototype figures at some point, but that they were never released to the public. The only merchandise that has surfaced is a plastic lunchbox licensed by Thermos, and that's all we could find. If you know of something else, please let us know in the comments. TTFF BHFT came back to television as part of the Cookie Jar Toon block on This TV in 2011 and 2012. The block of programming was developed by DHX Media, who had acquired the rights to shows in DIC's catalog. After nearly 20 years since it debuted, Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills was finally released on DVD in 2013 by Mill Creek Entertainment, licensed from DHX Media. All 40 episodes on 4 discs, or you can find a lot of it, probably enough of it, here on YouTube. The internet is a weird place and has a tendency to give a second life to things that previously might have quietly faded into history on a list of lost media. A whole new generation found out about TTFF BHT from the web series Dragonball Z Abridged, created by Team 4-Star. Dragonball Z Abridged is a wildly popular parody show that dubbed new audio over existing Dragon Ball animation. In one of the episodes, Vegeta is speaking to Gohan and starts listing off the names of Super Sentai-type shows that Gohan might be familiar with. From Power Rangers to VR Troopers to Samurai Cyber Squad to Sailor Moon, Gohan has never heard of any of them. Until Vegeta names Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills, at which point Gohan says, "Oh yeah!" The irony of the scene is that a lot of people watching it thought that the crew at Team 4-Star had invented TTF-BHFT as a punchline to the joke in the scene, only to be shocked that TTFF-BHF was the name of a real show, and then shocked that it was a real show that someone made on purpose. Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills has been called parody, a knockoff, a copycat, repetitive, low budget, poorly acted, badly written. People have said the effects are awful and the costumes are worse. I am not here to tell you that TTAFFBH is bad. There are plenty of videos on the internet that will do that for you. I am here to tell you that TTAFFBH is what all of this stuff looks like to everyone else. As a lover of Super Sentai myself, it hurts me to say that I don't think people who aren't fans would understand the nuances of what makes this different from MMPR, and why, without a lengthy explanation and side-by-side photos detailing the differences, it ultimately comes down to aesthetic preferences and the value of personal experience and age.
You took my nads.
We only took one.
The truth is that some rivalries run deep and force the people involved in them to lose sight of why they're doing the things they're doing in the first place. DIC's mission was to draft on Saban's Power Rangers while simultaneously confusing the marketplace. And the team they sent to do that was the tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. Check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/ToyGalaxy. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, if you would like early access to the videos ad-free, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/ToyGalaxy and let us know in the comments down below, and be honest, how many episodes of Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills have you seen? Is this the first you've heard of it? Are you going to make the effort to watch it now? Be sure if you do, come back to the comments here and let us know how it went for you and how much your life has changed for the better or for the even better.
Cut.